what's up, guys? This is D22-soso and the PokerCraft podcast on Live with the Bike, and we are going to call DGAF.
Hello?
Is this DGAF?
It is.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Oof, just super busy here at Live with the Bike, you know that.
Yeah, you guys are pumping days.
Yeah, we're pumping days, like content. So if you've been living under the rock in the poker community in 2020, this DGAF is a super popular podcast. He's incognito right now, but we've known him for quite a long time in the poker community.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know me, but I do try to stay anonymous just because I basically, tell the story of my life and everything I think at the poker table. And then, so it's just, until I'm out of poker, I don't really want to out myself to everybody.
Of course. And, like, I've dropped some hints if they're eagle, or if there are people listening carefully, they might be able to piece some stuff together. But no, not going to blow your cover.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah,
I know, I'm joking. But we've played together, I remember in Oceans and Commerce, and there's a specific Commerce session where I think you remember more than me, but we definitely both remember. It was like way in the early morning, right? Just like 10-20 no limit. It was like 3 or 4-handed.
Yeah, I remember. So I remember playing with you short-handed in the morning at Commerce, 3 or 4-handed. We got it in and chopped, correct? Is that the time you're talking about?
Yeah, so what happened was I remember this hand because I was super frustrated because, like, I was getting approximately 1-2 in the call, and I had ace-queen spades. And I just thought you had a super strong hand, like ace-king plus. If you were, ace-king, obviously I'd need 3-1. Well, okay, whatever, 30% because I'm suited. And, like, I was off by, like, a little bit. And then I finally called. You had ace-king, and then we ran it twice, and we chopped it.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why were you so frustrated? That's not that big a deal.
Well, it's just like I wanted to make the right play. I mean, I know it was only off by like a little bit, but you know how it is. You just want to make the right play.
Well,
it's not about...
Yeah, you want to make the right play, but that just happened to be my hand. Like, it could have been other hands. It could have been, jacks, and then... So I think you made the good call, but just against my particular hand, maybe you didn't have the right price.
Yeah, it wasn't off by much. It just felt bad. Yeah. I mean, we know how it is. Like when you play for a living, like you got to be really tough on yourself too. And sometimes it is what it is, and you just
That's very true. I think we're all pretty hard on ourselves. Everyone that plays for a living.
Right. And then you have memory of us playing heads up after. What happened? You crushed me.
No, it might have been I think it might have been a different day. I think you were coming maybe from PLO. I think you said, we didn't play for very long, but we were literally, there's in the hotel side at Commerce, there's that one, I don't know if it's still there, but that stud game. It's not a very big stud game.
The stud game's dead. The 1 or 200, 204 in stud game, yeah, it's dead.
No, this was like a small one. Like,
oh.
I played it once, yeah.
Got it.
With, I want to say Cindy Violet, someone like that. Is that her name?
She plays occasionally, yeah, when she's in town, I think.
Yeah. But anyways, it was just that group of people, and then you and I, and everyone else was gone from the hotel side, which was rare back then. And we just played heads up for a little bit. I don't really remember what happened too much.
It was probably like when we played until time collection, right? That's probably usually what happens.
Yeah, probably. But that's when I found out who you were from the Live at the Bike. I said, I played that guy heads up one morning.
You're like, oh, that guy sucks.
No, man.
In that era, like, I would, like, online it just went down or something like that, and everyone was, like, thirsty for action, so everyone's like, let's heads up, shorthand, and then, like, the money was, like, running out.
Yeah, I mean, I still, to this day, prefer heads up over anything else.
Oh, yeah, I love heads up. It's just, people are studied now, and, like, I'm more restricted now because of my role at the bike, like, house player plus, like, Live at the Bike. Like, I just can't open cans of worms, because the thing is, if I beat somebody, I kind of have to allow a rematch because of my position. And if I lose, well, I don't want to lose.
Right. Right.
It's a little bit of a
Yeah.
vortex.
It used to be very common. I actually for 1 year like made all my money playing heads up, and it's just you don't find it. People don't want to play, even if
Yeah.
they're good. They don't want to. They just don't want the stress or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there are very few people I wouldn't play. Like, Sean Snyder, a good buddy of ours. Like, we would never play each
Yeah.
other. He actually held over me, like, over the years. But
Sean has.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he's just there's several key hands I remember he's outplayed me. That's all, and it hurts. You know how it is. It hurts.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of weird playing a friend heads up, anyways. You know, like I wouldn't want to play any friend heads up. Just it's too weird because it's such a war. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like super, and it's really awkward.
Yeah.
Afterwards, whoever wins, whoever loses. So
Yeah.
for the Live at the Bike viewers, they don't necessarily know you that. What's the DGAF story and how'd you get into poker?
Okay. So, well, I'm gonna answer the second part first. I got into poker at a really young age. I would spend the night at friends' houses a lot when I was, I don't know, starting at age like 7. And somehow two of the friends that I would spend the night at, both of their dads played poker, and they'd have poker games, and then their friends would leave, and then they'd play with us. So at age 7 or 8, I was already playing, and I loved it right away. I was hooked on it. And I just, continued to play as a kid, and then in high school stopped playing, was more into like sports and girls and partying. And then after high school, played a ton with friends, a bunch of guts games, pay the pot games, the really fun games to play that are all come up with strat on the fly, like different amount of wild cards, different amount of cards in the dummy hand, and yeah, that suited me very well. Just tons of when the pot got really big, just tons of like psychology going on.
Right.
I was the only one that would bluff for all the money, and I would just talk people into folding their pretty good hands. I just loved it, and then I actually played in the casinos before the boom, and then I played often, and then once the boom hit, pretty much the first game that was ever spread at the casino I was playing at Viejas, San Diego, the first no limit game after Moneymaker won and ESPN aired it, I was in it, and from then on, I was probably 30 hours a week until I became full-time at the end of 2007, and I've been full-time ever since. Oh, and the DGAF, that just came out of thin air, really. I was always lurking on 2+2, trying to get better, trying to learn from people that have been around. And finally, I got sick of searching for stuff. If you recall not having an account, if you don't have an account, you can lurk the threads, no problem. But if you need to search something, someone says, "Oh, go check out what Lynan said about this person," you would always have to type in some blurry word to prove that you're not a robot.
Right.
And
Right.
that always frustrated me. And finally, in 2008, I said, "I'm just going to get an account. What the hell?" So I can search for stuff. I didn't plan on posting, and I was actually texting my older brother at the time, trying to reach out. Like we hadn't talked much, trying to reach out. "Hey, do you want to do this and this and this for Christmas?" I think it was, and he just replied, "DGAF. Don't give a fuck." And so that happened at the same time I was creating an account, and I just put it in there, and then I went on to post, over 5,000 posts in there, and it just stuck. Once you have a screen name, that's your screen name, and so there's no thought behind it at all. Just that's how it came to be.
Absolutely. And what got you to start your podcast?
Okay, so yeah, I mentioned at the end of 2007 I went full time, and then my spending has always been very irresponsible. I've always been pretty self-destructive. I like to think that I am less that way now, but anyways, I definitely was back then. I had several great years and just spent as much as I made, and then in 2012, or it might have been 2011, I had a year where I still won, but I won like, 60K or something, and that busted me. because I was spending like I was, a professional athlete or whatever. And that busted me. And I had, kids at this point too, and just, lots of expenses. And so then I really had to like reapply myself to poker, and then I had a great year after that, and then kind of did the same thing again, which is stupid, but it's just the way it went down. Had a bunch of good years, and then had in 2017, I went bust again, and I just had like a barely losing year, like almost one pot changed it, where I got it in against one out on the turn. But anyways, I knew trying to reapply myself to poker and make another comeback, like a second one, so like a third rise, it was going to be tough because I was way burnt out on poker at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already played 30,000 hours of No Limit Hold'em live, and I played before that too. So way burnt out and no roll. So starting from like 2-5, which I'd never even played before, I just knew I couldn't do it unless I had something to hold me accountable, and that's what the podcast was for. And also, I had just started a podcast with my psychiatrist friend, a mental health podcast called Solicited Advice Podcast, and I enjoyed it, and people liked it, and it was really good for me, just talking, the talking aspect of a podcast.
Yeah, and you're just like building a product, whereas like when you're playing poker, all you have is your bankroll, you could stare at your win rate all day, and that's it.
Yes. So my poker podcast, well, it started as my poker podcast called Sessions. There was no intention to ever make any money or anything like that. I just wanted to hold myself accountable, maybe tell a few stories along the way, and it evolved into my life story. And yeah, now it is actually what I consider it a business. It's taken off very well, just organically. And
hello, lost you for a bit.
Oh, now I much prefer podcasting over playing poker.
Sure, I totally. You see how hard we work over here. It's very similar. Like poker's probably never going to leave us, but we find other interests in, especially contributing, to the community. It's more rewarding.
Definitely more rewarding. And I firmly believe that you just only get so many hours of live poker before it really starts to drive you crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
So many beats, so many breaking out in a crucial spot.
Yeah.
Being hit and run so many times, all that stuff. It gets you eventually.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of stuff that isn't spoken about, and we've been through it, and this is real stuff that we communicate to the audience. So you said earlier, like you have bad spending. I've mentioned it too. It's like one of the vortexes of like when you're doing well, especially in high stakes. When you lose, you spend money to keep from feeling bad. When you win, you spend money to celebrate, and that just gets into really bad habits.
Yeah, the equation of that is not good, is it?
Yeah.
When you spend both ways, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only when you kind of break even-ish or lose a little bit, then you're just like, oh, I'm not going to spend, one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, my monthly nut was like over $15K for years, just over $15K.
Was it like alcohol?
Yeah.
Other things?
I mean, no, just having having kids in a nice house, providing for a family of 4, and then also traveling, staying at, in hotels all the time, room service, you name it, giving money to friends, family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the monthly nut was over 50. I've gotten it down, but it's still over it's almost 10K.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah, it's not easy.
What are your 3 craziest stories from your podcast?
Okay. So what's interesting, very good promotion maybe, but the story that I tell in my podcast is this comeback that I'm making. It's not that, the story itself is not that riveting, I don't think. It's mostly useful, work every single day, play poker on no roll, the stress of that, haven't really run great. But I found something that I'm good at besides poker, and that's storytelling. It's being funny in moments. It's just being ridiculous. But I do tell, old stories that when my life was a lot crazier. Basically, in 2017 when I went bust, I kind of hit rock bottom in all ways. And since then, I've been less of a degen. I'm still a degen, but less of one. And so now, I kind of tell the story of I drive back and forth between San Diego and Vegas every week. That's what I'm doing right now. That's why we broke up there for a second. I was just going through the Cajon Pass. Now I'm up, in Victorville, approaching Barstow. But I will give 3 stories that just the old school stories that people have enjoyed. And I do this in the podcast too. I have flashbacks to the old days. And one of them would be, I was with a friend. We're at Carnival Court in Las Vegas. Do you know what that is?
I don't know anymore. I don't remember what anything's named anymore.
Carnival Court is like outdoor party area. I believe it's right by Harrah's. It's pretty great. It's kind of like TJ, but in Vegas. It's outdoors.
I've definitely never been there.
Yeah, I don't know. You got to really like to party to go there. It's kind of just a funny place. You don't want to go there too often, but I was there with a friend, and we were partying and playing blackjack for big amounts. They have outdoor blackjack and all that. And then we started walking down the strip. We were going to, I believe, a gentleman's club, but we were going to walk down the strip to get a taxi or something. And there was a girl with us who really wanted a champagne. She was kind of high maintenance, but whatever. It was going to kill the vibe if she didn't get one. So went into Harrah's on the walk down to get a cab and just bought in for $100 at blackjack to get a champagne and I'll just keep the red chips with me. This is kind of how it was before. I just didn't care. So I had, I played a hand, got the champagne, tipped $5 or whatever, and now we're walking down the strip, and it's just a group, my friend and girls and whoever, and we get approached by a rapper, and this happens a lot in Vegas. They want you to buy a CD for $5 just to, help support the cause. And I was like, well, why don't you just rap for us? I don't want to, I don't have a CD player. Why don't you rap for us? And it was good. I'll tip you. And so he gets his, crew around and all the people with us, and we're kind of huddled up on the strip. And someone puts some music on their phone. This guy starts spitting, and it's nice. It's good. And he goes for 5 minutes, and I reach in my pocket, and I, just feel out 8 red chips. I'm going to give him $40. When you've been in poker long, you can just feel 8 chips. And I hand it to him, and I say, good shit, man. And we start, walking down the strip. And then I realized later that it was only 7 red chips and 1 Aria flag that I gave. So a $5,035 tip, and I didn't get that back. We went back there, they were gone. The Facebook page was gone, everything was gone. So that's 1. You want 2 more like that?
Sure.
Okay. Another one, and these are all pre-2017 when I kind of, ever since then I've been, a lot less self-destructive. But another one at Commerce, I've gone through stretches where I don't drink when I play, and then stretches where I drink a lot when I play, and this was one of those. And I remember playing, Garrett was in the game. We were playing 10, 20, 40. A lot of the players that play, Jamie Shevel was in the game. It was just, maybe from the night before, I was still partying, and I just passed the cop going pretty fast. Hopefully I don't get pulled over while we're doing it. Anyways, so we're playing the game, and I'm running it up. I remember, just running good, and when poker is really easy when you're running good, especially a game like Hold'em, where you just two cards and you can just autopilot a lot of stuff once you've been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
And I was getting you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I was just getting 4-hour massage, whatever. That massage paper that they put down on the pad. Well, it's over my chips, so no one can see my chips. And occasionally a player will sit down and be like, "You need to stack your chips." And this is Commerce, 2013 or whatever. And I'm like, "No, man, I'm not doing that." And then, they would learn that, yeah, I have heat. Okay, and I knew I was running very well. I knew I ran really well against Jamie in one hand in particular, that I just went for it and then hit a backdoor gutter ball or something. And obviously wasn't repping anything when I stuffed the river, but I had it. And then I woke up the next morning in my room up in Commerce. My shoes were off. I was at the edge of the bed, and someone had put a trash can below me in case I was going to throw up. And and so that's kind of a blackout or whatever. And I'm like, oh man. And then I was like, I didn't cash out. I must have just come to my room and not cashed out all that money, and I figured I had at least probably $10K down there. And I went down there, talked to the floor, and they're like, no money. And so I had this really horrible feeling of, I just busted all that money just being too drunk, being too stupid. And then I texted my friend, I feel really shitty right now. And he's like, check your shoe. And then I checked my shoe, and there was I think there was $30K in there. So I did cash out. I won tons, blacked out against all these good players. And my friend had just taken that money and put it in my shoe for me. So it's just a swing of emotions right there.
Yeah.
You feel so guilty and horrible, and then, oh, really, when I was blacked out, I won 20, 25K. Okay. So,
Easy game.
Easy game, yeah. And poker, and that's, I talk about a variance a ton in my podcast. I just really believe in it. You got to run a lot, and if you run a lot, it's really easy. And if you don't, it's impossible. You can play against players that are terrible, and you can't win. But I'll give you the third one, and then, yeah, I mean, this is just, so the third one is also a drinking story where, so we were talking about me being a bad money manager. Well, the way I got around, so I would stay up at Commerce. I would just stay out, get a room. Every meal I would just have it brought to the room. I'd order Dom, in the morning sometimes. I just was really bad with money. And the way I got around was not a taxi. It was not an Uber. I didn't drive. I used to take the Commerce limo everywhere. So I would just take it to HG if I wanted to go to HG for a while, if I wanted to, wherever I wanted to go. And so I took it to HG one night, probably got stuck, played overnight. In the morning at 6 a.m., you can order again. And we had a good group going. We had a 10, 20, 40 going there as well. Just, that's the benefit of being the party guy at the table. You can get people to play whatever you want. And 2040 at Hawaiian Gardens on some Tuesday morning or whatever. Maybe it was a Wednesday morning, and I was just ordering bottles of Ace of Spades for the table. I was winning a bunch, and I believe in that. When you're winning a bunch, you got to give back. I was playing really well on this morning, I recall, and running hot, and just up heaps. And I spent over $3K on bottles of Ace of Spades on this morning. A Wednesday morning at HG, which is a lot, but I probably won $15K also. And I was exhausted, and took the limo back to Commerce. And then a friend wanted to go up to Ventura. I think they had a game every Wednesday night. I think it was a 5-10 with a $15 straddle, I think. And I was just like, why not? Let's power through this. You just took a shower. Let's go. Take the limo to Ventura. That's going to be a nice, fun drive. Drink on the way. Stopped and got a 2-hour massage and just crashed. Felt fine when I got out of that thing. Went to Ventura. They had a 100-200 heads-up battle going. since they knew me from coming up there and drinking, they let me play. I borrowed all my friends' money, played that, destroyed both people, and, just won
Lost you.
stories of,
Yeah.
oh, you did. What part did you lose me at?
You destroyed people heads up, and then one or two in heads up.
Just like, when you have a roll and you're running hot, it's so easy to play well.
Oh, yeah.
And it just took the little back to Commerce. Sessions where you win just a bunch, it pays for all that stuff that I've been talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just different. The story now is not that like degenerate side. It's really someone battling, someone struggling, to make ends meet with no roll and playing smaller and more full ring. But yeah, I think it's worth checking out the podcast. People really like it.
I'll link below this thing. And you've played a lot with the High Stakes Friday guys at Live with the Bike. How have they evolved?
Okay, yeah, I have played with a lot of those guys a bunch. So I will say I'll start with Andy.
Yeah.
I played a lot with Andy, and when I watch him play now, he definitely has evolved as a player. And my first thought is that he just needed to play really high stakes. This guy has so much heart. He always had so much heart. He was the one guy, when all the money went in, when you're playing with him, he was the one guy capable of not having it, right?
Right.
But he's playing much better on the now, and I'm sure he's worked on his game, but I think he just needed to play bigger. He just has too much heart for like 5'10", 10'20". I just believe that, but he's I don't know what he's done to get better, but the thing that stands out to me is I've seen him run very poorly on that show, including the full against
Jackie.
And his poise, that was really gross, against Jackie, yeah. And his poise seems great. I don't know, I'm just very impressed with how much heart that guy has. And I always like playing with him, so it's good to see him doing well. Who else?
Art.
Garrett, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
Garrett,
Art,
go.
sure. I honestly think I only played with Art one time. He was coming up in the poker world. I think he was a 5'10" grinder at Commerce. I used to not play that game because I would just only play that when I was waiting for 10-20 or something like that. And I happened to be down there, and he just, for some reason, told me about a beat that Brian Kim had put on him, and I didn't think anything of it at the time, and I was just like, yeah, Brian will do that to you. And I didn't know Art or whatever, and then, maybe a year or two later, saw him sitting there, on the Friday game, and I can't imagine a lineup where I wouldn't want to have a piece of Art. He's obviously done all the work on his game and knows how to apply it, especially full ring. I can't imagine someone I'd rather have a piece of. So yeah, he's phenomenal. And then Garrett I've played a ton with. We're friends. We've degened a lot together. So to take nothing away from him, the first thing I will say is that he has run the hottest of anyone I've ever seen. But now that I've said that, he also has put in the most work of anyone that I've ever known. And no one's had more talent going in, and you put those three things together, and he's the guy. He's the best. He's the best I've ever played against, the best I ever see on stream. Any of these other guys, these great online guys, these great tournament guys, they're in trouble against him. He's just, he's a legend at this point. He's fun to watch. On a friendship level, I hope he gets out of the game at some point, just because I think he could, someone that talented could do really amazing things in the world.
Sure.
Yeah, and then Chris has been playing on there. Chris Brewer's been playing on there a decent amount.
Yeah.
A pretty funny story that he was way early in his come up, And I think he kind of took a shot versus me, played me heads up. There was nothing going on one night. I stumbled into Ocean's 11, played me heads up 5-10, and got it in. You know, he gambled, I'll say that, and in a big pot and doubled. And then this was as I was approaching rock bottom. And so I was extra tilty and spewy and not playing my best, but also he gambled again in a big spot, doubled again. And I was just reloading, you know, and so he beat me heads up for a nice score, and I believe he's never looked back after that. I think that kind of gave him enough to start playing higher than 5-5 or whatever. And yeah, I play with him sometimes. It's nice to see him evolving too. He's starting to really get it at the table. It's nice to see. He's dressing nice. He's being social. He's smiling. Stuff that I preach always in my content. It's nice to see that he's evolving.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we got, and we'll be awaiting your return to high stakes poker and hopefully on the stream in the future.
Yeah, I've never played on stream. I did commentate one night with Bo, World Bo Free. That was fun. That was cool. But yeah, I would. So my story that I'm telling in the podcast is the actual story of me being a podcaster and getting people to pay, you know, to pledge monthly, and it's other stuff. It's parenting. It's coaching youth sports. But yeah, I am trying to make a comeback in life to get financially secure, aka flush again, which I've been a couple times. And if I do, then I will. Then I don't mind. Then I'll be on my way out of poker, and I will out myself, and I will. If you guys will have me, I'll play in that Friday game. But that seems like a far way away at this point. But yeah, I definitely would. I would love to.
By the way, smash that thumbs up, hit subscribe, and we got DGAF's pod linked here below, so click that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on, and it's cool to see the PokerCraft developing as well. I've listened to a few episodes.
All right, cool. We're gonna get you back in the commentary booth and live at the bike and see what more you got on the pod.
Yeah, I would love to do one of those Friday games. So
sure.
As soon as I'm coaching my kids in sports right now, as soon as that's over the basketball season, I'd love to come up there and do that again.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Catch you later. All right.
All right.